from um, Instagram. Interesting. It's not. Oh, there we go. Okay. So Instagram seems to be like 30 or 40 seconds behind. That's okay. It's just setting up now. And not gonna be the longest show today. I'm so far. I think it's been like 2 weeks since I did a show. So let me go check on something. I'll be right back. Okay. Hey, hello, whoever's joining. Hopefully this is going. Yeah, so I'm watching the timer. So Restream is showing me 23 seconds. Instagram is showing me 45 seconds. So it's about 30 seconds behind what it's sending out on Restream. Let me compare it with okay. Okay. Here we go. All right, welcome to Evidence-Based Audio number 220, and this is the Clone Wars. All right. So first of all, I'm attempting to multi-stream to Instagram here, and we'll see how that goes. But I should be able to see your guys' chats on both formats, and I'll see if this works. I'll try and get to TikTok if you guys really think I should. So first of all, Mike Robinson, he's a channel called Let's Talk About Reaper. I think he runs the Reaper, what do you call it, Discord room. This is a good guy to watch no matter what. He's got all sorts of Reaper tips and even just recording tips in general. So even if you're not a Reaper user, this is a great guy to watch. So his YouTube channel is called Let's Talk About Reaper. And so he's talking about a new theme called, it's a theme from Reaper Tips. There's another channel you guys should be watching. A bit.
Look at that. All kinds of smudge. The one must properly on my screen. 50% don't. So as I said, I've been using the stock theme for a pretty good while, with perhaps a few minor modifications. Earlier this week, Alejandro from Reaper Tips released his own theme.
Okay, that's it for now. I really enjoy making this kind of videos, so thank you for your support.
Now, he was a big proponent of Smooth 6, and made several modifications to that theme to suit his own needs. And while he wanted to be able to release his modification of Smooth 6, the developer for that theme seems to have disappeared, and the license for his theme suggests that you can't repackage and redistribute it. So with that said, over a period of weeks, possibly months, Alejandro began painstakingly working on his own theme based...
Yeah, so this is donation where if you like it, please leave him a tip. So it's a lot of work making themes. You know, I think in the early days you guys saw us making some, but man, that's a pain.
On the Reaper 6 stock theme. I've been test driving it for the past couple of days, and I have to say it's become my new favorite theme. Since it's based on the Reaper stock theme, we know that we don't have any compatibility issues. And being a graphic designer, Alejandro is known for his attention to detail. Let's take a look. What you're currently looking at is the Reaper 6 stock theme. As I said in the introduction, I'm running 4K resolution at 150% scaling, and every element of this theme looks crisp and clean. I've already installed the theme, so I'll go to Options, Themes, and Reaper Tips Theme TCP Right Side Effects. And upon changing to the Reaper Tips theme, my display has instantly become smoother. That's the only words that I can use to describe it. I definitely like the more rounded faders in the mixer, and the appearance of the effects slots is nice as well. The blue accents for the toggled on buttons in the toolbar really help them to stand out.
Yes,
and while the
please.
theme is not drastically different from the Reaper 6 default theme, at the same time it is, but in a good way. There's nothing that's too distracting that takes away from my workflow, and if anything, it enhances my workflow. I would dare say that the theme even makes things sound better. Of course, I'm kidding about that, but it does make for a very pleasant...
So one thing that I'm always complaining about is how the grid lines look when you have multiple. So it's hard to tell. That's a quarter note. That's a quarter note. The eighth note is a little bit duller. Like, it is really hard to see these lines right here. And that's not, hey Max, this hasn't really improved the line visibility any. Now he's saying to go to preferences and change to solid grid lines. I think it's in preferences. Let's see. Show dotted grid lines. Okay, I'm going to change that to solid. That's slightly better, but you can see it's still tricky to edit drums. So let me add some more. That's now we're down to 16th notes, 32nd notes. Now it's true. This does look smoother. I don't know about the colors or anything. Well, we'll give it a try, but that's what this looks like, this Reaper Tips theme. And he's made a thing where you can put the effects on the right side of the TCP. I haven't been able to do it. I think I have to probably edit something to do it, but it looks good. I love this RGB thing. It's oil slick looking colors, but I don't really use it for that. But I go check it out. Reaper Tips theme, and also check out the Let's Talk About Reaper channel. It's a great channel. It's Mike Robinson. You'll see him on there all the time. You'll see him on other people's channels, but his videos are usually pretty cool. Okay. So some of you guys were watching. I had a problem with the Triton Audio Phantom Blocker, and if you don't know what this is, you guys know what phantom power is. Like, some microphones take phantom power in order to work, or certain devices, some direct boxes use phantom power. Basically, phantom power is something that it's a power source that comes from the mixer down your mic cables, so if you're just plugging into your mixer with your normal microphone cable, your mixer may have phantom power, and if it's on, 48 volts appears at two of the pins on your microphone to at the positive and negative in order to power devices that need power. So for instance, condenser mics, or active direct boxes that don't have a battery. The trouble is phantom power can blow up certain devices. I mean, it's horrible, but it's true. Even in this day and age, we still have the same stupid old problem. And on my Line 6 Helix, which it shouldn't have, there's phantom power can make serious problems for the outputs. Not just the XLR ones either. The unbalanced, or what they're saying are impedance balanced, but I don't know. Something said tip sleeve. Other people are saying it's tip ring sleeve. I don't know. I don't know if I believe it. But the 1/4 inches, if phantom power is present on that, even though it's an unbalanced connection, it sounds horrible. It makes just this crazy, distorted barf sound. And so you need these phantom blockers on there. And I was having the weirdest problem because I would have to put a miswired cable in order to make the phantom blocker work with unbalanced signals. And I kept going back and forth. I think I made some videos, more Triton Phantom Power mystery. I have an old video I made on my YouTube channel. Here. Let me redo this. Let's see. Okay, now something weird. I should be able to see Instagram live. Let's see. So I actually tested this. See if I can get to some of these. Jeez, I was on there for an hour. So I took out a multimeter and some other devices, and I tested this thing, and it turned out that if I flipped pin 2 and 3, everything worked. And to make a long story short, the teal deer is I went back and forth with Triton Audio. Went as much as I could figure out on their page. I went back and forth with their email, and finally at the end described how it was wired, because I suspected that pin 2 and 3 were flipped, were miswired, and it turns out that they were. The company confirmed it with me. Now here's what I really want to say. Don't let forum gaslighters give you any crap. If you really find a problem, that problem could very well be real, no matter how much the faithful scream that, oh no, you must be doing something wrong. It's an error between the keyboard and the chair, whatever. Really check this thing, because it turned out that yes, indeed, it was wrong. You had a million voices telling me I must be screwing up, but nope, turns out there was actually a problem with the wiring here. And one thing I really want to make clear, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share my emails with Triton Audio, but they were willing to send me new units to make up for this. That is some customer service. Now, I told them I flipped the wires. Once they confirmed that the wires were flipped, I just soldered them, resoldered them myself, and I'm perfectly happy now. Everything is working, but this is the mark of a good company with good customer support. So if there's anything you need from Triton Audio, I would say go for it. Let's see what they make here. So they make the Phantom Power Blocker, which you should have. You should have something around. You can make these yourself, but I really like their version. It's really handy. So they have a FET head, which boosts your microphone. I'm using a, am I using a FET head here? I'm using something like a, either a FET head or a, what's the other one? A cloud lifter. I'm using a cloud lifter, I think. What's going on? Yeah, there's a lot going on. Let's go. So I'm using a cloud lifter. They make it's the same sort of thing though. I think the FET head does the same thing. They have a FET head Phantom for boosting your condenser microphone. I don't know why you would need to do that, but maybe there's a reason. FET head germanium with like, I guess, a different transistor in there. Now we're getting silly. FET head transformer for another. See, we're really getting silly. A bunch of FET heads, okay? Airhead attenuator for all types of microphones. Now that sounds handy for if you have a mic preamp that just can't pad down and you got a too loud of a kick drum, like what's going on out here. Ultimate levitation damper. I have no idea what that is. Let's take a look at it. So they do have their own phantom power supply, a pocket-sized DI, they say, piezo pickup preamp. Interesting. Well, let me see what this levitation damper is, because I might just be getting upset. Magnetic levitation damper. Neo level eliminate direct coupling and floor related distortion. Okay. Ethan Weiner will probably have something to say about this, but actually, I could find some use for it. I don't believe in the damping part. Hey. Okay, yeah, let me find out who's got a BMW. Oh, did you tell her? Did you tell her, or are you just going to find it? Okay, sorry about that. So we've always got parking wars back here, so I got to take care of that. All right. Okay, so these guys make some cool stuff. I don't know about this levitation thing, but I actually could use it for LRF support, right? Anyhow, these guys were really good about offering to replace their stuff because I had a problem. So that's the mark of a great company right there. Okay, so we got the Reaper Tips theme, Triton, Phantom Blocker. All right. I'm going to read some stuff about clones, and you guys know about this with these guitar pedals. I hope I don't have to tell you that there's no magic in a guitar pedal. Like if the schematic's out there and you build it the exact same, I don't care if one guy charges $10,000 for it, one guy charges $300 for it. If it's the same circuit with the same parts, it's the same circuit with the same parts. It's going to sound the same as long as it was built competently. And if anybody wants to doubt that, bring the evidence, because this is like when people say that null tests don't prove anything. Of course they do. All right, so this guy's talking about I was on Facebook Marketplace recently and noticed there are an abundance of fake Neumann U87 TLM 103s in my area. These are not the cheap Temu branded ones. They are one-to-one replicas that look like the originals with branding on the boxes. Neumann logo and wooden cases. Hey, Papa Kilo. I know a lot about how the Chinese counterfeit market works, as in my earlier use, I used to be into collecting Air Jordans. I would wear the replicas as spares when I wanted to have a dead stock pair. If you look at eBay and Reverb, these are the same fake Neumann mics. It's nearly impossible to get a secondhand Neumann these days, and it's only going to get worse. How the Chinese counterfeit factories work, they mass-produce products, but they come in different tiers. In the beginning, every Air Jordan replica were not identical to the originals. That issue with the quality controls. There's a whole bunch of word salad here. I mean, not really word salad, but you know the stuff. Saying you get 98% of a Neumann U87 for $500. It sounds and looks like the real thing. Stam Audio, Warm Audio, and other clone companies will not even come close. Why? Because some of these products manufactured in China are actually making the real product because of offshoring. Yes. So let me read this again. Because some of these products manufactured in China are actually making the real products because of offshoring. Now, people get this wrong all the time. This is right. They are keeping copies of the originals and will endlessly replicate a product until they get it right. They don't even have to do that. That's wrong. Okay, we're going to get into this. If they can get Nike products down to a science, they can and will get their hands on Mojave for sure and other companies producing in their products in China. Buyers will give reviews of all the replica products, and this is how they'll make adjustments. There's a lot of things going on here, and I quote somebody. Hopefully this didn't get deleted. I get deleted off of here all the time. But let me find where I got in on the thread. Okay, thanks. Where is me? Sorry about that. I'm finding it right now. Okay, so I was quoting Pugga Mahoney where he says, if two microphones are made by the same factory on the same line from the same materials to the same specs and they look identical and you can't hear a difference and they come with the same case candy, then what makes one of them fake? If they're as identical as two mics from the same production run can be, then the fakeness, like beauty, must be imputed onto the object by the observer, or else it's the distribution network that defines whether U87 is real, what makes money real. So I said exactly. When you choose to have thieving scumbags force prisoners and slaves to make your product for you, you don't get to complain when those same thieving scumbags start selling your product that they have been making all along and stop giving you your cut. Let me try and put this into dummy speak, like I speak, okay? So many companies right now have China... Red China making their products for them, and we'll talk about more about this, but basically they're having these factories in China make their product. Now, people may not agree with me with this, but I think history has borne this out. Once you have something made in China, that intellectual property becomes China's intellectual property, and they're free to use that. I mean, technically they're not, but they do. They're free to make their own runs of that same product. But here's the thing: the factory that makes spiffy brand X microphone, whatever, what do you think is to stop them from just keeping the conveyor belt running and building a bunch of their own and then just selling those without giving you, the original intellectual property owner, your cut? Nothing. Nothing at all. And they do this all the time. So when people say something is fake or it's a clone or whatever, is it really a fake or a clone if it's made on the same assembly line by the same people with the same specs, with the same parts, with the same everything? Is it a clone? I mean, really, that's just the real thing, isn't it? That's all that is. You guys can, I mean, it's almost semantics at this point to call it anything else but the real thing. And, you know, I put it a little bit harsh, when you, when you have thieving scumbags force prisoners and slaves to make your product for you, which is true. I mean, do we have to bring up, factories made by ultra hip American companies that have to put nets on the side of their buildings to prevent suicides, that have to have the soldiers come and force them to stay at work instead of going home? Like, it's pretty bad. And so Joe Q, who I always get along with, but I think we're talking past each other here. He says, I found one of these articles and it seems the kids are willingly knowing buying fakes. It's a sign that in fashion, at least, people care more about being seen with the desirable logos than they care about the actual quality of the item. Not just in fashion, in audio, it says the same thing. But what I'm saying is there is no difference in quality. It's the same product. The difference is the original IP owner isn't getting a cut. And that's really what it is. If you're selling stuff off the same line, I think you guys can think of many examples in recent history where there were alleged fakes out there, but they had to have governments actually stop shipments because there was no way to tell from the real thing, because they were the real thing. They were made by the same people. The only difference is they didn't give it to the original IP holder to sell in the first place. Now, Joe Q took issue with me because, let's talk about the U87. He says a real Neumann U87 is made at Neumann's factory in Germany, a factory that is owned by Neumann and only makes only Neumann mics. A counterfeit Neumann U87 is most assuredly not the same. Now, I thought that it was possible. I'm not sure if this is true or not, that Neumann had stuff made at 797 microphones in China. And you go look up 797 so that you don't have to take my word for it. But I don't know if they ever made anything for Neumann, but factories like that made mics for a lot of people, and not just mics. When these guys are talking about fashion, like especially when you're talking about Nike or something, a lot of these guys that shill for Red China, like openly shut down debate about Hong Kong freedom and things like that. It's not fakes that's coming off their lines. Those are the real thing. They're just not being sent to the original IP holder to sell. It's being sold straight by the people at the factories or whatever. But it's the real thing. So yeah, I got the U87 wrong, possibly. But he's saying that even these handbags are totally different. They're not. It's made by the same people. The handbag counterfitters are counting on the fact that most people are incapable of judging quality details such as stitching, craftsmanship, the wrinkling and aroma of top quality leather, etc. That's not true. If it's made by the same people on the same factory and same line, same everything, there is no difference in the quality. So I said, I got this wrong. I called 939. It's really 797. Aside from 797 microphones building made in Austria and made in Germany microphones for the OEMs for well more than half a century, maybe the UA87 is an exception. So what? That's not the point. Surely I don't have to bring up the Telefunken Apex story here on Safe Space, right? The point was that many of these clones are made by the same people on the same assembly lines with the exact same parts, schematics, and techniques and processing as the, quote, real ones. Think about the times when they built other people's stuff for Behringer, right down to errors in the manual. Okay, and there's a couple cases that, and people are just piling in on me, but sorry, they're just wrong. Let me go to the Telefunken and Apex. So you may or may not remember this. You may or may not have been around. Telefunken, made in Austria, had a microphone built. I'm trying to make sure I got this exactly right. As far as I know, they decided to have a microphone built in China, and just like anything else you have built in China, they will just sell your IP off or give your IP to another factory. And sure enough, Apex comes along, and they had pretty much the same mic. So you could buy something for a couple thousand or whatever, or you could buy the Apex one for a couple hundred, and you were getting the same mic. I think they changed some of the parts. Looks like they may be different tiers of parts. Maybe not, actually. You read, so it was actually published in another place. Let's see. No, editor's note, November 2006. This comparison was for the original Telefunken USA M16. Telefunken USA has since done some major modifications and introduced the M16 Mark II as well as the AK-47. We've had these mics here for testing and are absolutely impressed. Read the new ones, blah, blah, blah. So these guys did a test between the Telefunken and the Aphex 460. The Telefunken is $1,400. The 460 is $230. Capsules are identical in every detail. They have not been touched. Circuit boards appear to be identical with the same parts except for 3 high-value resistors on the M16 that are a different brand. This should make no difference. Wiring is the same and seems to not have been touched. The output transformer is made in China and shows a poor phase response. So in this case, they put a crappier transformer in, looks like. The overall build quality appears to be the same in every detail except the plating and the paint. Frequency response is nearly identical, with the M16 having less low end and almost 5 decibels less at 40 hertz. That is 5 decibels less than flat. Noise floor in the two microphones is not the same. The new old stock Philips tube in the M16 having 12 decibels more noise. The tube from China in the 460 is superior with less noise. I wonder if it's at the same gain, though. Now, interesting, even though the transformer is bad, phase response of both systems is nearly identical except for the inferior low frequency response to the M16. So they're saying the M16, the real one, the Neumann, had a worse transformer. Let me make sure. Power supplies for both mics appeal to be identical. My opinion is that the Telefunken M16 and the Apex 460 are the same microphone, with cosmetics being the major change. They did some listening sessions, and so Jack Hicks wrote, even though significant improvements were made to this microphone, it was only after they were outed. The fact that they would pull such a stunt to begin with has taken Telefunken off my radar. Lots of contemporary mic companies used to import catalog mics from China and resell them as originals. The only difference was the paint job and the badge. Nearly all those companies have since gone off scale and are producing innovative quality products today, whatever. He answers back, sorry, Matthew, once a con, always a con. I'll never trust Telefunken again. Ouch. So here's where we are. So let's look at the frequency response, which is what really matters. These things are so close together, with the Apex, the cheaper one, actually being slightly flatter on both the extreme highs and the extreme lows. So what does that tell you? Crazy, right? So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about clones. What's real, what's fake? Sometimes they're the exact same thing, made by the same people. There's 2 other products that I think everybody want to talk about. 2 court cases. Behringer versus Apex for something like the Exciter, and Behringer versus Mackie for the Eurodesk versus whatever the Mackie thing was. Behringer was it Eurodesk? Now these ones, one, I think Behringer lost, and one Behringer won, and it got to the point where they even copied errors in the manual. I mean, now these were actually different products, but they didn't have to be. And that's why I say a clone, make sure you may be after a distinction without a difference when it's coming to alleged clones and things like that. They may not be clones. They may be the real thing. Anyway, like I said, this is gonna be a short one. I know it's just half an hour. I really wanted to test out whether Instagram was gonna work for this or not. It seems okay. It's kind of a pain setting up, but hey, it works. Wonder if I could pull this off on TikTok. That'd be funny. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully I'll get through this a little bit earlier, and hopefully I have some guests again. Those were fun when we had them.